What is going on, everybody? It is episode 733 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We are joined once again in the studio with Phil.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and a counter-revolutionary. I'm also more fun than either Brett or Mary.
That is true.
That's not true. We're just fine without you. Okay.
See if we invite you back.
I didn't say you were incompetent or anything. I just said I'm more fun.
How does one define
IRL is
fun
like,
anyways?
IRL is like totally serious and buttoned up, and we're the fun ones.
Yeah, we're fun. As Tim says, they have money guns.
Yeah, we have more fun here.
Yeah.
That's the selling point.
That's
I
the whole
hope.
point. Well, like
No.
literally every time that I've gone on IRL in the last, since starting to go on again, I say, look, politics is a drag. It's boring. It's depressing. It makes you chew the inside of your lip because you're worried that Russia is going to nuke Ukraine. Come over and hang out with us. We have a lot more fun.
That it is a stressful situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
They're actually shooting ICBMs now, apparently.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're not nuclear tipped, but they had.
But they're capable of carrying nuclear payloads.
Yeah, multiple re-entry vehicle or whatever warheads dropped in Ukraine. That's a party, man.
We're just vibing.
Just vibing.
Anyways, guys, we're here in America where we can just pretend like that stuff isn't happening because we got two oceans between us and the rest of the world. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. But before we get started, guys, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. Please and thank you. Remember to share the video with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you like, people you hate, a mortal enemy or two if you have them. The more people that you share these segments with, these live streams with, the faster channels like this can grow. So thank you guys so much for that. So what are we getting into today? Thank you for that, Phil. That was some great.
Welcome.
What are we getting into today? Well, it feels like a flashback to the year 2019 when all of the Jussie Smollett stuff happened initially.
Jussie Smollett.
That's what
I know. I love it.
Jussie Smollett.
Yeah, that's what Dave Chappelle called him. The famous French actor. Well, he's gotten away with it, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe
He didn't get away with crap.
He got away with it. Yeah, they overturned the conviction on him, and now
that happened.
Yeah, that happened. So we're going to get into it. I think it's less about the court case because none of us are lawyers. It's more about, that was a moment in time, wasn't it? 2019.
We really need the PCC legal correspondent, This comes up too often where
if there is a
Ron Coleman, we need Ron Coleman on.
No, it needs to be a puppet. It needs to be
a finger puppet, maybe?
It needs to be one of the marionettes that they got out, but something like one of the marionettes, and that needs to be PCC's legal correspondent. I swear to God, it must be.
It's not a bad idea.
I think
That's
it needs
a great
to be
idea.
Ron Coleman. Ron Coleman is great. So
Ron Coleman's great. Ron Coleman can voice it.
Nice.
I was thinking, what if we made a Ron Coleman
perfect,
even better, and then we're just
awesome.
we'll just get your audio in here.
Then
somebody else will have to do the marionetting.
I'm gonna tweet at Ron right now.
Do it. So we're gonna be talking about that. We're also going to talk about Cocomelon. It's destroying your children's brains, and you don't even know it. Mary feels very strongly on the topic. Last I saw your post had 10 million impressions or something like that.
It's at 11,000 retweets, and a lot of those are people quote tweeting me to say that I'm woke because I'm against putting iPads in babies' faces.
Okay, so I have feelings on this. We'll talk about it later.
We'll get into it. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, women don't want you to be happy, ladies and gentlemen. If you have hobbies, anything of the sort, just remember that women will laugh, berate, and belittle you no matter what you want to do, because that's just the way women are. I'm kidding. Mary found a list of the most attractive hobbies to women and the least attractive hobbies. So before we get in, I'm of the opinion now that there is no such thing as a real survey anymore. I think all surveys are just made up so that people can use it for content.
Yeah, most of them are fake, but
it's just an infographic.
We have talked about this in the past because one of these ranking lists of least and most attractive hobbies for men came out. It listed video games as a turnoff for women, But there are new charts showing the least attractive and most attractive hobbies for men. And I think that it would be interesting to get into it.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. It's going to be great. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Phil, you ready? All right. First things first, I've got fantastic news for everyone. One celebrity has made good on their claim of leaving the United States of America after Donald Trump was elected president, and that celebrity is Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah, Ellen and wife Portia de Rossi have moved to rural England and put their Montecito estate for sale. They plan to never return to the U.S. because it's MAGA country.
I always suspected.
Where they aren't welcome because they're lesbians, I presume. I don't know. They're telling friends that are familiar with the situation Trump's election is the reason for it, and I kind of have to respect their commitment to the bit.
They at least made good on what they said.
That's true. I didn't think that two women that are married to each other could be more gay, but apparently.
Yeah, they really set a new record.
They really set that bar. This is dumb.
I mean, look, we could start a movement here of celebrities. It's
movement
kind of like
to England.
It's kind of like all of the people on Twitter that are migrating over to Blue Sky, which they will then be back in 6 months. We all know that to be true. Anyways, right? They're going to be over there for 6 months, and they're going to try, and it's not going to work, and they're going to come back. Ellen might actually be able to do it because Ellen doesn't really have a lot of prospects in the way of Hollywood right now anyways. But the actors who still want to work, you know.
Remember, Ellen DeGeneres actually articulated, I will do whatever it is I'm supposed to do that doesn't get me in trouble. There was that, I forget what it was that someone asked her. Someone asked her a question that had a little bit, it was slightly politically correct. There was a politically correct answer, and she was like, I don't know, whatever I'm supposed to think, that's what I think. And I
kind of appreciate it.
She actually articulated that. She was like, and so
wow,
someone like that. I mean, like the moving to England, it's of course just a virtue signal. I'm sure that they're both millionaires individually. They probably have a nice place in the UK that they can go to, someplace that's not in London. That's that's out in the countryside or whatever. Nice big hedgerows.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
There's a 20 there.
Sounds picturesque. Jose Quintana said, hello, Optical Overlord, failed musician, and Ghost Empress. My hobbies have been card collecting, comic book collecting, normal stuff. Jussie, Ellen, so lame, yum, Cherry Garcia ice cream, long live PCC.
Well, I was reading this article the other day. Cherry Garcia is a Ben & Jerry's flavor, right?
It is.
Ben & Jerry's has wokeness, as much as I hate that word. It's actually the truth of the word. They've got progressive politics built into their business model since day one, and they're actually bringing a lawsuit against their parent company right now because they stopped them from making posts about Israel-Palestine. You see that?
Yeah, I mean...
Ben & Jerry's has been that way for a long time.
I mean, they've been, the whole point of their business model and the whole look they have is all deadhead hippies from Vermont and stuff. They've been from Vermont I think they're based out of Vermont or whatever. That's their shtick, so it doesn't surprise anyone that they're,
There was a post that went viral on Twitter a week ago where this lady's like, I used to work for them. They taught me how to do tax fraud. And somebody goes, wild that you put that in your post. Why would you do that as the government comes knocking on your door?
Yeah.
Right?
It's funny that Ellen is everything leftists think Trump is. She is an actual tyrant. We know about her toxic workplace allegations.
I've heard stories, yeah.
She essentially got exiled from show business for it.
I did. Did you see that post that went viral the other day of the guy who said she was basically a locust and she would just zap all of the virality out of every single person that ever got 15 minutes of fame. They said if she was still on the air when Hawk Tuah happened, Hawk Tuah would have never become what it was because she would have put her in a 3-minute clip, taken all of the shine, and then would have just disappeared back into sucked the life out of it.
She really kind of terrorized celebrities when they were on her show, which it is almost funny that they would go on her show anyway because they have to.
We know what it is
knowing
now.
that she's going to try to humiliate them.
It's worse now because now, sure, Ellen would terrorize you, but now you've got Drew Barrymore like crowding your personal space.
Oh, yeah.
And making you feel physically uncomfortable.
No, Drew Barrymore is like somehow the polar opposite of Ellen and makes everyone equally uncomfortable because she curls up on her talk show couch and starts stroking your hand and caressing you and whispering in your ear.
There was somebody on recently who's like, don't do that. Like some woman, who was that? I got to see if I can find it here.
Someone had to say it. Whoever it was, props to that person because someone had to tell Drew Barrymore that her behavior was inappropriate.
There was somebody recently who
no
basically
boundaries
said that. Yeah, like, I forget who it was. Maybe somebody in the chat.
It's this weird phony intimacy.
Martha Stewart.
Martha Stewart of anyone would be the person who would call her out for that because
she's like, look, I've been to jail.
Yeah,
okay? I've been to jail.
She is a tough lady. Yeah, Martha Stewart is the Iron Lady of TV personalities.
Actually, speaking of this, so I was back. I went back to the castle the other day to grab something, and I saw my picture of the many great tax heroes. You know, celebrities who have bravely pushed back against the tyrannical U.S. government stealing their money. And I realized I have a place I could put them all up on the
Perfect.
up
the
on
Hall
the mantle.
of Fame.
The Hall of Fame, of which Martha Stewart would be front and center.
She just had a documentary made about her, so she's been doing press for that.
She's
really cool.
I feel like we need to embrace more Martha Stewart and less Drew Barrymore in society.
Yeah.
Like way more.
Agree.
As for Ellen, look, I saw this other article today from, what was it? It was from the Daily Mail that they went around and talked to like ordinary Americans about celebrities who were, virtue signaling about moving away. And a lot of them kind of had the same sentiment. They said, look, I don't like Donald Trump, but your virtue signal is lame, and why wouldn't you stay and try and fix the problems you swear to us?
I don't believe that the moving away has very much to do with Donald Trump at all. And honestly, it's not like she's putting herself out. Again, they probably moved to a very nice place in the UK, like out of the center of London. And if they did move to London, they probably got like some kind of, multi-million-dollar condo in a high-rise or something. They're not going to a place that's somehow like, it's not some kind of like big tough thing for them.
Nope.
Like they can afford to fly between the UK and the US. If they've got family in the US, yes, it's kind of, if they're on the West Coast to the UK is kind of long. You're talking about like a 9-hour flight or whatever. But if you're going to New York, you can do that in 5 hours. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Honestly.
They asked some of these New Yorkers what they think about celebrities escaping Trump's America, and one of them said, I don't like Trump, but if they want to leave, F them, let them leave.
Yeah.
Another one said if they have power, privilege, and money, maybe they should do something to help the community around them instead of just fleeing.
And another thing is that I continually say is the people that are on the left, they don't love America. They don't like Americans. They think that they're better than Americans. They don't have any kind of connection to the United States, any of its history, any of the things that make the United States great. They don't care about any of that. So good riddance if you want to leave. Fine.
I'm with you. Look, that's something that's gone on for far too long in Hollywood, is the dislike for America.
Yeah.
That I've never understood. That was part of my first original awakening to politics, was like seeing people who grew up in roughly the same socioeconomic class as I did, and seeing how different they were after they went to like a 4-year college, and their views on being from here, despite the fact that many of them were from either the same class as me or better, right? Or they lived in the nice part of the town I was from, and not the lower side, the lower income side of the town I was from. And I never understood it. I always felt like gratitude made way more sense to me than some type of ingrained sense of self-hatred. But Hollywood has pushed that for decades. Not to mention, thanks, Rage Against the Machine. This is on you too, Tom Morello.
Well, I'm pro celebrities self-deporting.
There
I
you
think
go.
It's a great thing, and they should all follow suit with Ellen.
It all depends on their politics. If you're a leftist that doesn't love America, then go ahead and leave. If you're someone like Henry Cavill, who's not even from the U.S., is he?
No, he's
He's
from
English.
the UK.
If he's definitely not some kind of leftist that's going to hate America. Come on over, get a condo here.
We'll take
get a
him.
green card. Come on over, work. It'd be great.
It's also funny because a lot of them, look, Hollywood, in a lot of ways, because of tax reasons, is migrating a lot of their productions over to the UK anyways. A huge percentage of productions are now filmed in the UK. Not to mention the big budget films, when they're not blowing all their money on CGI, film overseas anyways. So they're perfectly within their rights to go and do that and pretend like it's a virtue signal here, when really it's just beneficial for them financially.
Well, Matthew McConaughey was just recently in an interview talking about how he moved out of Hollywood with his wife.
Back to Texas, right?
Yeah, into Texas. And he was the one who also convinced Glenn Powell to do the same thing, a much younger actor.
And he mentioned that, like, look, he's like, look, I get it. Like, I'm at a point in my career now where I have the money to be able to, like, leave the bubble and still get work. Whereas, like, if you're a blue collar actor working on TV and you have to worry about auditions,
Sure,
you kind of still have to stay there.
But Glenn Powell was like, yeah, I just waited until my career got to a point where I didn't need to live in LA anymore.
Yeah,
which
makes
is a
perfect
great
sense.
a great privilege.
There's a 20 there from Nate. He says, we must get an Escape from LA skit based on this. Yes, that would be good. That would be good. Yeah, good riddance to them. We'll take
Sayonara, suckers.
All right.
I mean, it's again. Yeah, we can go on. It's all just stupid. It's stupid.
I mean, if you had thoughts that you wanted to express,
it's such a nothing burger from people like that. If you're how much money did she get made? Or how much money did she make from her show every year?
She's very, very wealthy.
You know, she's probably worth $50 to $100 million between her and her
I don't
wife.
know if she's Jay Leno wealthy, but we all saw what happened to him yesterday.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, like, again, she's gonna go someplace super nice. This is not some kind of terrible, like, she's not being put out. She's not seeking asylum. You know, it's like, you're just get over yourself and shut the F up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, PewDiePie is my favorite YouTube success story.
I like PewDiePie a
personally.
lot.
I think that he is such a joy to watch. Obviously, he is past the heyday of his YouTube career and just casually posts on his channel now. His videos still get a massive amount of views, of course, but he still, for some reason, attracts so much outrage, and leftists on Twitter never shut up about how much they hate him. It doesn't matter what he does.
He made the gamer word.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just because of the controversy about him saying the N-word on stream. It's just everything about this guy triggers them. Mainly the fact that he promotes self-improvement. He makes videos about reading philosophy and weightlifting, and he makes family vlogs showing his beautiful life with his wife Marzia and their child. Yeah. And they hate to see this guy winning. Well,
leftists just hate. Like, they are miserable people, and when you're miserable, you can't stand to see people that are not miserable and successful and and doing things with their lives that they enjoy.
So just recently, I'm not exactly sure why, but PewDiePie was trending on X.
He posted a new video.
It was just all this barrage of hate coming at PewDiePie for absolutely no discernible reason, calling him a disgusting racist and a horrible person. And all he's doing is posting wholesome family vlogs. This is what he does now. He's living his best life.
Let's watch this video.
Yeah.
This video here. Here we go, guys.
Yeah,
their baby is so cute.
It's adorable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the problem is
From the net.
it's a white baby
Look at Mama,
and a male.
straight from the movie. Yeah.
Okay.
Really, like, his life is straight from a movie. It's so beautiful to watch. And yeah, he ended up getting compared to a terrorist.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. This one person replied, this tweet said, Twitter says PewDiePie is a disgusting racist. You're a horrible person if you support him. Meanwhile, PewDiePie. And then this person responded, Twitter, Osama bin Laden is a disgusting terrorist and you're a horrible person if you support him. Meanwhile, bin Laden, and it's like a photo of bin Laden with a child smiling in the picture. So I guess PewDiePie
He's bin Laden.
is basically Osama bin Laden for leftists on Twitter.
So I mentioned to you yesterday that there's an Osama bin Laden reference in the show Landman. Is bin Laden making a comeback?
No, he's in the ocean.
Yeah.
I don't think he's making a comeback.
His daughter's on
he ain't
social
coming
media,
back.
right? His daughter's
Yeah.
on social
Nor,
media.
yeah.
She's a public figure. Here were a couple of the responses. One said, PewDiePie is a disgusting racist. Trust nobody gives an F about him and his racist ass baby.
Why do they
That's
always why do they-
racist baby. Did
They said nobody gives an F about him and his racist ass baby. They're
Good.
calling PewDiePie's baby racist.
They're just unhappy.
Yeah.
What is wrong with these people? Another one said PewDiePie is raising the new generation of racists.
What does that even mean? Like,
Okay, if you're unaware of this controversy, on a stream one time back in 2017, PewDiePie.
2017?
Yes, it was back in 2017. PewDiePie said the N-word. And it turned into this whole controversy because he was previously seen as this unproblematic fave.
That is why it's called the gamer word, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's not
That and
uncommon
Call
for
of
people
Duty.
to use language like that in
but also
gaming.
he's not American, so it probably didn't feel as taboo to him.
Well, it's just internet speak. Like, he didn't even think about it when he said it. He ended up posting an apology video, which he definitely shouldn't have done. That was a mistake because these people do not accept apologies.
Yeah.
You are now persona non grata to them forever, which is what he found out later on.
Yeah.
And just recently, he posted a video on his channel about how he took to drawing and illustrating every day for, I think, a year. And he showed the way that his drawing skills have improved over that time period. And the amount of hate and backlash he received for that was just unfathomable.
Did he? So. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What was your question?
I had a question. I forget what it was.
Okay.
Oh, actually, what kind of views has his most recent video gotten? I'm gonna actually look that up. Let me see.
All of his videos are in the millions or tens of millions still. He just posts less frequently than he used to because he doesn't need to post content anymore financially. Like, he's
got
set for life.
1.9 million views in 6 days.
Yeah, like, he's still good. He
3
still
weeks
has,
ago, he posted something and he gets 4 million views.
He still has a strong following, and these people are just louder than those supporters. But yeah, PewDiePie is facing backlash from artists who are jealous of his drawing skills, which they attribute to his privilege of being wealthy enough to have free time.
I'll tell you what, like,
The left is just miserable. They're just miserable.
I respect artists. I respect anyone who can create something from scratch and make something beautiful. There is nobody meaner on the internet than artists when they're judging other people in the realm of art. If you don't believe
There's
me,
two
go
$20
look
Super
at
Chats.
any topic from artists talking about AI.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
We got
I can't.
20 from VWit. I'll
Go
read
ahead.
this first. PewDiePie retired and moved to Japan. He now joins some of my fave Japan YouTubers. He surfs and is living a good life. I never watched Pewds back in his heyday, but I watch him now. Pewds did the apology and then doubled down. Yeah, I think that maybe that was at a time during the height of cancel culture when he might have been advised to make an apology video, like, oh, this will get people off your back.
Yeah,
Doesn't work.
happen.
And people have found out over time that never works.
I mean, it's
it
because
only
it's-
makes things
well, it's
worse.
not a recipe for sincerity. And when you make an apology in the real world to another person, all you can really do is make that apology and hope for reciprocation from that individual. When you make an apology to a large swath of people, you may get a couple, but that doesn't mean you're going to get it from everyone. So it's utterly useless in the end.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the
Brett's too good to do the Donald Trump dance.
I am.
Brett's better than Donald Trump. Apparently.
I am.
So I guess their conclusion here is that PewDiePie is only good at drawing because he's a multimillionaire and he has free time to practice these skills In reality, I think they just see examples of excellence and hard work and resent that. It's not like he came from a privileged background.
And
he
that's
said that he worked at a hot dog stand when he started his YouTube channel.
This is the same thing they say to kids who make it in sports. Like, a lot of professional athletes have to come from money because to get as good as you have to be to become a professional athlete, you can't just play during the season. You have to go to training camps. You have to be able to afford trainers. A lot of sports have a strong barrier to entry just by equipment costs alone. Think of something like hockey. Right? It's expensive to play to begin with. So people who are bitter and people who want to excuse their own failings rather than accept the successes of others will use your socioeconomic status growing up as a reason why you succeeded rather than explaining why it is that they failed.
Yeah, that's very true. And I actually do like... There's a little bit, there's a kernel of truth to the argument that, well, look, you need to be able to afford to do these things, etc. Sure, fine. You're not going to find any, any low income people that are jockeys, right? You're not going to find low income people learning how to do barrel racing.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
water polo.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. But like, that isn't an excuse if you look at the person and they're clearly obese, and they don't do anything to better themselves to try and... So it's like... And the people that make those excuses regularly have... Or make those accusations regularly, their mouths are full of excuses as to why they haven't excelled, why they haven't done anything, why they can't.
Critique yourself harshly before you do so. I think one of the recipes for maybe not success, because it can't guarantee that you're going to be successful, but one of the recipes for a good life is to critique your own work in your existence harshly and work to improve upon it, because that will allow you to be grateful for the things you do have, because you don't allow yourself to rest on your laurels.
Be strict with yourself. And lenient with others.
Exactly.
That's Marcus Aurelius. It's been multiple thousands of years. It's that kind of idea has been around, and it's a very good one. Be very strict with yourself and be very lenient with others, and you will have you will have positive results in your life.
It's weird because it's something that comes up when we talk about just the format of this show, which is in a lot of ways, look, we're dunking on celebrities or we're critiquing what's going on in the culture. And I have my qualms with industries like Hollywood or things that people do, but I would never use their failings, what I see as their mistakes, as an excuse as to why I can't succeed at something. And things like that. I think that hold yourself accountable for your own success. Even if you think something did work against you, like a strong sense of holding yourself accountable will go a really long way in life. Even if it doesn't help you succeed, it will help you come to terms with where you do end up. And in a lot of ways, that is the same thing as success.
We have another 20 from VWit. Pewds doubled down by making a how to make an apology video, dunking on all the half-assed apologies. It's actually really funny, but from a while ago. Good luck easily finding it also. I said it earlier, but hi, Phil.
Hello.
I still listen to Congratulations sometimes just for the hell of it.
He made great songs,
Yeah.
actually. I miss the T-Series war.
Yeah.
That was like the best time for YouTube. Those days are long gone. But
Sad.
I wish nothing but the best for PewDiePie and his cute family. I think they're doing great.
All
And
right.
he
Yeah,
gives good
absolutely.
advice to...
Absolutely.
He knows that his audience is mainly made up of young men, and I think that's why he makes the type of content he does, and it resonates with them, which brings us to the next topic. A couple of days ago, it was International Men's Day, and a lot of these days have essentially turned into hashtags where people get to voice their personal takes on the validity of these, celebrating days. But I saw a lot of hate and backlash to this specific post from Pop Base about International Men's Day. This was, I think, controversial because it's seen as an attack on International Women's Day, which predates it. I went in and looked at some of the history behind it, and it was actually founded in 1992. It was by a small group of men from Kansas.
Wait, in International Women's Day, it dates back all the way to 1919.
Right. So Men's
And-
Day is much more recent.
And those socialists over there in the USSR.
Yeah. A small group of men from Kansas, which included a professor, Thomas Oster of Missouri University, they came up with the idea of a Men's Day off as a way to thank men for the contributions they give to society. This became reconceptualized as International Men's Day and had its first event attended by a small group of men and women in 1992, the first celebration of it. And I think there is a very discordant conversation about why there's a necessity for this type of day, this
I don't
type
think
of
there
holiday.
is a necessity for any of them.
Because
men
people
or
will
women.
just, like, we should get rid of all international whatever
Anything day.
days at this point. There are too many of them. Ironically, it was the same day as National Have a Bad Day, which
Coincidence?
might not be...
This is
I think
intentional.
not. Oh,
not,
yeah.
It might not be a coincidence. I think we should get rid of both International Men's Day and International Women's Day, both, because
commie
you don't
holiday
need to
anyway.
be celebrated for your genitalia.
It's literally
Like, grow up.
it's literally the Chris Rock bit about celebrating stuff you're just supposed to do.
Right, like, you
I
didn't
take care
do...
of my kids. You're supposed to, you dumb motherfucker.
You didn't do anything to be celebrated just by being a man or being a woman. You need to actually earn that. But I think
So-
people ended up hijacking this for their own purposes. So the feminists will say we need a day to talk about men's issues, which we have the sole authority to define what men's issues are. And they are as follows: toxic masculinity, the patriarchy, and mental health. And it means that men need to be more open with their fifis, and it's
Everybody
all the
knows
fault of the
that's not
patriarchy,
true.
and all of their problems are self-inflicted. So we just need to use International Men's Day to blame men for all of their own problems. That's basically what happened.
Yeah. Whereas those same feminists would celebrate International Women's Day as a reason as to why they are where they are, is that men have oppressed them and made the day necessary.
It's all just
Right.
based on hate. It's all based on hatred.
I mean, do you agree with our take that both of these holidays should just be abolished?
So I to a certain degree, yes. The fact of the matter is, like, men and boys nowadays are experiencing a significant amount of backlash. Feminists are horrible people. They're leftists. Which means that they're generally upset with life and upset with the conditions of life, which is why they're leftists. And their solution to their problems is to do whatever they can to harm men. Right? They think that the pie is fixed, so if men get something, that means that women lose something, and I think that's a terrible way to look at the world. But that's the way that society's been behaving for the better part of the past 30, 40 years. And I think that stuff needs to change. I think a major part of the reason why the depression levels in both men and women, young men and young women, are so high is because of the way that we treat men. The fact that young men don't act like men is part of the reason why young women feel like they have to act like more masculine, and why that actually makes women depressed, because they want to be
against their
women.
nature.
It goes against
Yeah.
their nature. Yeah. So I do think that these, hold this particular person up today and hold that particular person up tomorrow, and this day is that for these people and stuff. I do think that that's bad, but I also think that society's attitude towards men and boys is detrimental to society. It's not just detrimental to men and boys; it's detrimental to society.
There's
We have
20
a
now.
20 from Isaac Cervantes III. I can't even draw stick figure petroglyphs. Drawing is racist. Hi, Phil.
Hi.
Well, yeah, you don't want to be good at drawing. That means you're racist.
Yes.
One response to this said, "Why don't men open up more? Then you go and read the comments section. Why do y'all only care about men's mental health when it makes you look good in front of others?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely concerned for y'all. Is there not at least one man in your life that you care about? I don't know." I just don't think that I don't think that opening up about your feelings is what men need.
No, man.
I don't think that's actually one of men's interests.
That's all feminine stuff. Like the whole like you need to share your feelings. It is okay for a man to like talk to his significant other and be like, "Hey, I feel like this or I feel like that." But the talking isn't gonna change.
They want
the
you to do it to a
situation.
therapist anyways. They don't want you to do it to a significant other. They don't want you to be in a happy relationship.
Yeah, therapy is terrible for men. Men will get their positive feelings from a different way, or in a different way than women do. Men are more likely to get together and try to achieve a goal and feel accomplishment and feel better about themselves if they do that kind of stuff, as opposed to sitting down and talking with someone, right? If women feel bad, they want to talk about it. The idea that men should sit down and talk about their feelings is feminine. Men should get together and like try to accomplish something. Like find a dude that you're a homies with and like build a car, you know, or refurbish a car or whatever.
For me, it's going skating with friends, right?
That's fine.
You go skating all day and then like it's 50 to 60% skating. The rest of it is just hanging out and bullshitting with your friends.
That's fine. I think that it's good to have like some kind of goal. So it's some kind of thing that you can achieve, whether it be, you know, look, so my father and his buddy used to get together on Saturdays. This is what they did for fun. They would go and they would cut down trees. They would find people that needed lots cleared or wanted cordwood, had wood. They would go and they'd cut down trees. And the goal was to cut the trees down. So once they got the trees cut down and they cleared whatever the lot was, you know, they were done. But the point was they were doing something together to accomplish a goal. Yeah. And that kind of stuff is how that's how men bond. That's how men make themselves feel better about their lives, because they feel accomplished. Men need to feel accomplishment. So the idea that you'll sit down and talk to a therapist and the depression that you're feeling is going to go away, that's not true. Go and do something that's going to be that you can accomplish. Set a goal, accomplish it, and do that over and over, and that will help you feel better about yourself.
I would argue that some of the success that comes from going to a therapist is literally just the act of making an appointment and completing the task of going to the appointment itself.
Maybe, but generally, if you look at I don't think that you're wrong, but if you look at the results of men going to therapy and women going to therapy, men don't end up feeling better after.
Well, that's what
going
I'm
to
saying.
therapy
I'm saying literally, it's like he had an appointment, he kept to his schedule and completed the appointment. Whether any of that had anything to do with going and talking to the therapist, debatable.
Well, you've seen, I'm sure, these videos of these awful men's retreats where they like gather in a field or whatever, and they scream and cry together.
Usually it's like no, it's not usually
open their chakras. No, that's literally what it is.
Oh, that's not the ones that I know what you're talking about.
They get together and they literally just cry because that's what they're told is good for them.
There's a 20 there.
Philip Reed said, "I know what the problem is. Women have convinced men that they don't have cooties."
Just look, Mary tweeted once that I said you should bottle up your feelings and die young, which I was only half kidding about.
Suffer in silence
and die young. I think that you build up a callus to the things that bother you in life by learning to take the things that come at you stoically in a way and find somebody to confide in that's a partner beyond just, you know.
There are things in Stoicism that have outlasted the overall philosophy itself, and that's because they work and they're true, just like we were saying just moments ago, you know, like be harsh with yourself but be gentle with others. Be critical of yourself and be forgiving to others. That's a good thing to do. Like it makes you control the things that you can control, and it allows you to release the things that you can't control, which is what other people are going to do. You can't be mad at someone you can't live your life being mad because people aren't doing what you think they need to do. So
because you can't control it.
Exactly.
And when you surrender that control, when you learn to surrender that control, you can accept what happens much more easily.
Exactly, which is why you should allow. Oh boy, here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donald Trump agrees.
Serious things.
Never be serious. Tonal issues, guys.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs.
See, I told you I'm more fun. I'm dancing. Brett won't.
I'm pressing buttons right now.
Oh,
I'm pressing buttons
BS,
right now.
that's an excuse.
It might be a little bit of an excuse.
Well, you've been outspoken, Phil, about the issues that men are facing, specifically young men and boys, and one of those that always comes up is mental health awareness.
Yep.
And I just think mental health is not really the problem. I think that the way modernity is structured is the problem, and men are having a totally reasonable response to the society we live in.
I
And
agree.
that's not a mental health problem, that's a society problem.
And it's going on both sides.
Like,
It's happening to women too.
This is why it kind of bothers me that the entire definition of a mental illness is basically that it's posing some kind of dysfunction in your ability to do your job or socialize, right? So if you can't function in society properly, you will, meet certain diagnostic criteria for a mental illness like depression. But sometimes when it's circumstantial, a lot of the times, you're just having a totally reasonable response to the circumstances
Yep.
around you, and that's actually how you should feel rationally. Like, that's not an irrational response to be depressed in modernity. Like,
Yes.
there are a lot of really rational explanations for the fact that men and people in general are pretty miserable now.
100%.
I mean, and people would say the same is now true of women because women are expected more increasingly to act like men. Their women are graduating college at higher levels. They're not staying home. They're not
Almost
having
50%
families.
more.
Yeah, exactly. So
And their self-reported happiness
everyone-
is plummeting.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So everyone is acting outside of the bounds of what society had set for them for an eternity, and then we wonder
Not-
why people are acting the way they are.
Not just what society said, though. These things are. I was actually talking to my girlfriend today about this. Like, we were talking about the issue with the issue on Capitol Hill now about bathrooms and stuff, and women are far more vulnerable to men than men are to women. It makes perfect sense for women to be like, I don't want a biological man in the restroom with me. Whether or not you agree with how trans people live their lives or whatever, it's perfectly reasonable for women to say, I want spaces that are just for women. And that's because human beings have been humans for like something like 200,000 years. Like, we've been evolved into human beings. And so you've got 200,000 years of women being more vulnerable to large men or to men than even men the same size, right? Like, you have all the ramifications and consequences of getting pregnant to women. Women can die in childbirth. Women have a far more dramatic situation and far more dangerous situation if they get pregnant than if a man gets a woman pregnant. Like, these are all things that are built into human women because of evolution. So it's not just society, it's actual reality that has shaped not that has shaped society and shaped what women and men are. So it's totally normal for a girl to be like, if a guy hits on a girl, right, and she doesn't like him, they get like creeped out. It's not just like when if a girl hits on me and I don't find her attractive or whatever, I'm just like, thank you, I'm flattered, blah blah blah, and I brush it off. I don't get any fear. Like, there's no, oh my God. There's no, if a man hits on a woman and the woman's not attracted to him, there's an actual physical feeling, right? Is it not like creepy?
I guess it just depends on how he's acting.
Fair enough. But that's
Yeah.
because if a man decides that he's going to try to force himself on you,
Yes,
that's a
yes.
real possibility.
Definitely.
If a woman decides she's going to try and force herself on me, that probably doesn't
Right,
matter. Like,
yeah.
you have to be a big bitch for it to matter to me. Like, because you're just not going to be able to overpower me because I'm a guy.
Right.
So it's like, these are real things. It's not just about, it's the idea that men and women are the same is verifiably false.
We have a couple of 20s. VWit said, okay, fine, I'll say the quiet part out loud. Men do work. My teens and 20s were working on cars and camping. Men build bonds through turmoil. Respect between men is fighting each other. It's a hierarchy function of men's society. We have another from Jose Quintana. Brett, best skate brand you've ever used. Phil, how much guitar have you played in your career? Ghost Empress, have you ever played a musical instrument or sung Long Live PCC?
I don't have an answer to the first question. I would really have to put some thought into that, but maybe I'll come back to it.
I've written a boatload of riffs that are in All That Remains records, like This Darkened Heart. is full of my riffs. Our first record, Behind Silence and Solitude, is almost exclusively my riffs. There's a bunch on, like, the song Whispers and The Air That I Breathe from The Fall of Ideals. Those are my riffs. This Probably Won't End Well has some of my riffs in it. So I've written just a boatload of guitar riffs for All That Remains.
And as for your question for me, I'm not really a musical person. We'll leave that to Phil, the field musician here. But I think to what you were saying, it's obvious that people will end up miserable if all of our social institutions are essentially at war with our nature, which is
what
irrevocable.
the left wants, because the left doesn't even believe that we have a nature.
Yeah. And then I saw one other response to this saying, shout out to all the trans men, non-binary men, multi-gender men, agender men, gender fluid men, and intersex men out there. We love you.
There's one kind of man.
So happy International Men's Day to everyone who is not a man, basically, is what they're saying.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so stupid. I hope that one day we can abolish both. Yeah. That's my goal.
The holidays.
What?
We can abolish both International Women's and Men's Day,
well, listen,
because we don't need those.
There's the only concern I have with that attitude is people will take that idea and say, well, we should abolish gender because there are gender abolitionists, and they'll say, we'll get rid of men and women, get rid of the class of man and class of women entirely. So if my option is, if the options are everyone gets a day, or there's no distinction between men and women because I'm a crazy leftist, I'm going with everyone.
Unfortunately, we're kind of getting both right now. And everyone knew what a man and a woman was before these international holidays existed.
But that's why that person was like, all these different kinds of men. There's not a bunch of different kind of men. There's men and there's women.
But overall, my feeling is you don't deserve to be celebrated for your genitals.
Yes, you don't deserve to be celebrated for your genitals. That's fair. But like I said, it is there is peril. There is peril on both sides of that. So,
what would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
Phil, you decide today.
Cringe. Get it out of the way.
Cringe.
All right, here we go. This one here. Got it. Here we go.
In love challenge. Let's go.
Try not to fall in love.
That's what the mask is. That's what the point of the mask is. Looks like you lost. Better luck next time. See ya.
The hell did I just watch?
Did you fall in love?
Oh,
No.
something that
Did
caused me
you fail the
pain.
challenge?
I failed the challenge. I fell in love. All right, well, let's do cute of the day. Ugh. Okay.
Thank
whatever.
God. See, it makes so much sense to do cute of the day after cringe of the day. Just make the cringe go away.
It really does. Hold on. Let me get rid of these. Get rid of these.
Good Lord.
Here we go. All right, this one is from Corey Anderson. From Corey, first ambassador to the moon. Says, Barley and Rizzo listening to the show as background noise. You should always listen to PCC as background noise.
They're so happy.
They are so happy. That's a wink. All right, let's do one more here. Remember, guys, it says this one doesn't exist anymore, so I guess we can't do that one here. We'll do this one. This one's from Sandigan. Says, Miss Kitty. That is very cute. Guys, I'm out of cute of the day. So what I'm going to need you guys all to do is to submit your pets at Brett Dasovic on Twitter and hashtag PCC Pets on there so that I can add them. If you have submitted them before and I've missed them, I'm sorry. I'm only perfect so often.
We're in a cute
Not
drought.
all the time. We are in a cute drought.
Yeah.
Go ahead and submit them there so that I can add them to the queue and we can have them featured. So, all right, let's get started.
All right. In 2019, an actor named Jussie Smollett falsely alleged a hate crime that was perpetrated against him. He made a false police report. He was interrogated by the police. And the story was he went out to get a Subway sandwich at 2 a.m. in the middle of Chicago in the winter. And on the public transit, he was attacked by two white assailants in MAGA hats.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, he was on a show called Empire. Allegedly, the two attackers said, "Hey, are you that bundle of sticks N-word from Empire?" And they put a noose around his neck and doused him with bleach. And they said, "This is MAGA country." This was back in 2019. I think cancel culture was still alive back then. And somehow he really got the media to side with him at first.
Somehow.
He was doing interviews with mainstream media outlets, and they believed every word. But it was quickly found out he made up the entire freaking thing, and he hired 2 of his friends, his personal trainers, actually.
Personal trainers, the Osundairo brothers. Yes.
Yeah.
They're seen on camera buying the things needed so they could do this.
There are a lot of hate crime hoaxes. This is not a rare thing.
Think Bubba Wallace with the rope on the garage door that they said was a noose.
Right.
Look, we were kind of in this weird point of mass hysteria at the time, and the media was ready to believe anything, even if your better judgment and your common sense should short circuit something like that right away and make you ask very, very rational questions like who that axe that's worth any amount of money walks to Subway at 2 a.m. when it's minus 16 degrees out. Who goes to Subway at 2 a.m. anyways?
Jussie Smollett.
I asked that question because I actually used to live by a 24-hour Subway, and I don't think I ever saw anyone in there at 2 a.m. whenever I would drive by.
It was just Jussie at 2 a.m. on the dot every night.
Just juicy.
Yeah.
Just juicy. And I kind of think of this topic. So what happened is this case was overturned on a Fifth Amendment violation because after he cut a deal with the initial prosecutor, Kim Fox, where she threw out the 16 felonies and gave him like 15 hours of community service, the public rightfully said, they spent millions of dollars getting the feds involved in this. I don't think that this is a fair outcome. It kind of reeks of special treatment. They hired a special prosecutor, and he was then found guilty of charges of lying to the police, which carried a sentence of it was 100 days in jail. He spent 6 days in jail, filed an appeal, and they decided to let him out while the appeal was pending because there is a 2-tier justice system if you are a celebrity. We understand this. And
if you're a leftist celebrity.
Yes. Goes without saying. I'm not surprised that this got overturned. I more or less wanted to reflect on what the hell it was like in 2019. Remember, this was just before COVID. This would have been just before COVID.
And before George Floyd.
Just before George Floyd, before all of that kicked into high gear. And I just remember it very succinctly because I was watching a lot of YouTube at the time. So I was following everybody talking about this. And I don't know. What did you think when this initially happened?
I don't really remember what my initial reaction was. I never believed it for a second, obviously, because no one knew the show that he was on. Why would there be 2 random Trump supporters who happened to recognize you from this show?
That might stretch the bounds of credibility even farther.
How did they know that you were going to be on your way to Subway that night?
Why were they carrying a noose with them?
Why were they supplied with a noose to tie around your neck as well as bleach to throw on your skin? None of it made sense from the very start, and I think that you're right. People were just more credulous of these hate crime hoaxes back then.
Yep.
Now we don't believe any of it. And it's an especially infamous example because of the fact that he is a Hollywood actor and believed himself so important that people would actually buy. He was recognized from this network television show on BET or whatever. I think
there's an even less chance that I would go into Chicago at 2 a.m. and be recognized.
It just betrays a very special form of narcissism that only an actor would have. Yeah. Even though actors aren't the only ones who create these hate crime hoaxes, they have an extra incentive to do so.
Don't forget, there's also the allegations that he mailed dangerous substances to himself at his dressing room on Empire federal mail fraud charges. I don't know if that ever got filed either. The point was, it was pretty widely understood that he wanted a better contract negotiation for the show, and that really comes down to the crux of it. Every single one of these celebrities in Hollywood would gladly let the world burn if it meant they could make a little bit more money.
Thank you.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
Okay.
Jussie's attorney weighed in. He told TMZ this was not a prosecution based on facts. Rather, it was a vindictive persecution, and such a proceeding has no place in our criminal justice system. Ultimately, we're pleased that the rule of law was the big winner today. He said Jussie is very pleasantly surprised and ecstatic.
I bet.
Oh God, it's just so disgusting. And this speaks to the fact that, or something that I was saying on IRL the other day. The American people watch this stuff, right? They know this stuff. They know that this is a perversion of justice. They know that statement was absolute BS, and it's just like Solzhenitsyn said. They know that they're lying. Mm-hmm. They know that they know they're lying, and yet they know they're lying, and they still keep lying.
Do they know
everyone's
that
aware?
We know they're lying?
Yes, they know that. They know
So it's
that
just
the
a power
American
play.
people. Yeah, it's all about power, and they're just gonna keep lying. Everyone knows that Jussie Smollett BS'd. Right, it was all crap. It was found to be BS, and they're letting him out because of who he is and what his opinions are. He has the correct political opinions, and so it's fine. You know, we don't really want to go ahead and prosecute him and actually, you know, have any kind of negative consequences happen to the poor guy's life. It's terrible.
Remember,
terrible behavior.
This dude had the absolute temerity to like stand up in the courtroom and raise his fist.
Oh yeah,
like
he
this.
was raising his fist with the Black Power symbol in 2022 after everyone already knew that he was a faker.
Yep.
So really, there's just no shame whatsoever. He feels no shame about what he did. He is a sociopath.
Yes, I mean a lot of these actors are.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of have. It's kind of what we talked about when we said that if you want to be famous on social media, you kind of got to be okay with people misrepresenting you and being misunderstood. You kind of got to be okay with being an extreme narcissist if you want to get if you want to renegotiate your next contract for Empire, you might have to commit a hate crime hoax or two.
His lawyer also said he thinks the case was swayed by popular opinion, but prosecutions should be based on facts. The public wanted Jussie convicted and was not interested in reasonable doubts. He notes that celebrities and other well-known people face an uphill battle in court nowadays. Do they really?
Yeah.
Celebrities are actually the ones facing an uphill battle in the criminal justice system.
It's so
Tell
gross.
that to
Alec Baldwin, anyone?
It's so
Kevin
gross.
Spacey, anyone? I mean, really?
You could make the claim that Johnny Depp faced an uphill battle. He had to work his way back into the
Even
public's
that,
good graces.
it was a civil suit. That changes things.
Yes, I do want to point out, somebody mentioned Mighty Ducks Forever. He will forever be known as the less cool Hall brother from the original Mighty Ducks. Mm-hmm. Meaning that he wasn't...
Jussie Smollett?
Yes. Yeah, he was in the original Mighty Ducks. He was the less cool brother who didn't get to be in the sequel.
But he also is still getting work. This says he actually did a show with Vivica Fox just this year.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me that he's getting work. To Hollywood's detriment or credit or whatever you want to say, you know, they'll work with pretty much anyone if they can make some money off of it.
I mean, that's gonna be the same situation for someone like Alec Baldwin or Kevin Spacey. They're still getting work. They're fine. Yeah. There will be no consequences for these people.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yes.
I guess the idea for them is like, look, that's the free market decides what who gets work and who doesn't, and does their notoriety and skill set outweigh the negative press that comes from?
No.
I mean, that's the whole point.
For Jussie, no. For Alec Baldwin and Kevin Spacey, yes.
Yeah.
For Jussie Smollett, no.
No, for a certain level of production, it does, because they can get him at a cut rate now.
I guess.
He's not going to work at the same rate he was getting when he was on television every week.
The Illinois Supreme Court said we were aware that this case generated significant public interest and that many people were dissatisfied with the resolution of the original case and believed it to be unjust. Nevertheless, what would be more unjust than the resolution of any criminal case would be a holding from this court that the state was not bound to honor agreements upon which people have detrimentally relied. So basically, Jussie Smollett got a plea deal. He kept up his end of the deal. And
by doing 15 hours of community service.
That means, that means that he can't be retried and thrown in prison where he belongs. Actually, no, he doesn't belong in prison. He belongs in a mental institution for the rest of his life.
I mean,
this guy is clearly off the wall insane. Insane.
No. I don't think he's insane. I think he's cold calculating and did exactly what he did for financial profit and benefit.
A lot of people in prison are sociopaths.
I don't think he's insane.
They never stop. You know this, right?
Yeah, but
they
you don't
always
put a
just,
sociopath in a mental institution. You put a sociopath in prison.
Does it matter? I mean,
Yes,
as long as this
it
guy,
absolutely does.
As long as this guy isn't free to engage in the public
most
again.
of Hollywood is, you could say that a lot of Hollywood is like this. You have to be. It's one of the most hard to succeed in industries that there is. And so if they're going to take any shortcut, no matter how depraved it is morally, they will do it.
I guess he decided that being gay and black wasn't enough for him to make his career happen.
Go re-listen to the Chappelle bit on it again if you're,
Juicy
if you're
Smooth,
yeah. It was great. So, all right, let's go to the super chats. Also, somebody in the chat said Brett looks like an extra from the an older child extra from the original Mighty Ducks. My brother actually was an extra in the original Mighty Ducks, so
crap,
close,
huh?
but not exactly me.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil.
There you go.
1 week to get your calorie deficit in before Thanksgiving."
Oh boy,
that's so real. I am in my calorie deficit.
Your calorie deficit era?
Yes, I am. Corey Anderson said, "What is with the Shane hate on Reddit?" I don't know what that means.
Shane responded that. What's the hate about?
Ignore it, Corey. I did not work the effort.
What's it about? What are they hating about?
Is that about Shane Cashman? I don't know. Corey Anderson said, "Shane, that BS should be called out, and who said it?" I don't know what you're talking about. So
yeah, I don't know.
Greg Duvier said, "It's Thursday. It is Phil's weekly reminder to release a new album, and my weekly reminder, it is coming out soon, whatever that means."
Yes.
Do one more.
Soon means a lot of things. Corey Anderson said, "Phil, what is with the guitar? Oh, no, not guitar. The glitter on your shirt."
Oh, it's actually words. It's not glitter. It says purple. So.
But it's not purple.
Okay.
Well, it's the brand.
It's so confusing.
Anyway.
Let's hold off on the rest. Let's come back.
Cocomelon is destroying the brains of Gen Alpha. These iPad babies are not prepared to enter the real world, and I'm deeply worried about it. I saw this video of a bunch of infants and toddlers reacting to the theme track for Cocomelon. If you weren't aware, it's the most popular YouTube channel for kids entertainment, and all of it is just CGI vomit. It's just brain rot and slop. That's all it is.
Read to your kids.
And people just, plop their kids in front of the TV or hand them an iPad or a smartphone and play this for them so that they don't have to tend to their children. It's literally just a way to silence them and pacify them with mindless brain rot content. And I think that it's going to result in a generation of severely stunted, dulled individuals who are just stupefied zombies.
When did Cocomelon debut?
Late 2010s.
So how old are the kids? Like, how old is the oldest kid that ever watched Cocomelon now, probably?
Well, the youngest Gen Alpha were born in 2012, which is after the iPad came out.
Okay.
And that's, I think, the big delineation you're going to see.
Okay.
Between the kids who were raised with iPads in their hands and those who weren't.
Yeah.
You're going to see, and I know the oldest Gen Alpha are going to be graduating high school in the next handful of years. So this is something that we need to really think about before they enter the so-called adult world.
Yeah.
They're not able to communicate. They're not able to think. They have grown up with an iPad or a tablet as their primary attachment figure. And you've seen, I think we've all seen in public situations where these kids get the iPads confiscated from them and they absolutely lose their minds.
Yeah.
Like they don't know life without entertainment. It's terrifying, truly. So let's take a look at this video and see these children's reactions to the Cocomelon soundtrack.
All right, here we go, guys. Hold,
Is it
please.
not
Loading.
working?
Loading. We're having internet issues today. There we go. We're getting
no.
slow internet today. Hold on. Refresh.
I hope the stream is okay.
Yeah, we're having internet issues.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, basically, if we can't play the video, you should know all of these babies just have extremely emotional reactions to hearing the Cocomelon soundtrack, as you would for like an MK Ultra trigger phrase. It's literally brainwashing.
Yeah.
And this isn't just a theory of mine, it's actually part of their business model. The audience for Cocomelon at Moonbug Entertainment, they produce 29 of the most popular online kids shows in the world, found on 150 platforms in 32 languages. They get 7.8 billion views on average on YouTube per month. Once a month, children are brought one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. For anyone older than 2 years old, the team deploys a whimsically named tool, the Distractitron. It's a small TV screen placed a few feet from the larger one that plays a continuous loop of banal, real-world scenes, like a guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse at the Distractitron, a note is jotted down. So they have an algorithm to basically put these babies and toddlers into a psychological trance-like state and brainwash them into emotional dependence on Cocomelon. And people mindlessly put their kids in front of this stuff because they want peace and quiet, I
wonder
guess.
how much money is dumped into all of the research, development, and it's kind of like how they talk about everything seems benign until you see how much money really goes into making the things that we consume every day. Right? You go to a grocery store and you don't realize how much money went into the marketing and the psychological studies to figure out which products to place next to one another. Right? The money goes into all of this. So to do it for something like this that just ostensibly feels like brainwashing children is kind of terrifying.
So I tweeted about this, and I really didn't expect it to get as big of a reaction as it did. I said, this isn't cute, it's scary.
Yeah.
And everyone was clapping back at me, saying that I'm fear-mongering. If you're not afraid of the consequences of this, you are dumb. You should be afraid of what this is going to do to the next generation of children as they grow up.
I mean,
this should actually strike fear and alarm.
it's experiments on children, like without like
Parental consent.
Well, not only that, but like without any concern for like long term, right? Like, I mean, you don't know what this kind of stuff does to the to the growing baby's mind.
It's because most people, when they think of like experiments, they think of something you have to ingest or something topical, something that actually goes in your body, rather than these types of things which are done mentally to you.
Well, I mean, look, it goes into the brain.
Exactly.
It may not be that. Maybe people conceptualize it differently, but the vehicle of administering it, but it's still something that goes into the body, because the brain is unquestionably inside your body, and so what it's going to do to a developing brain, to a developing baby, like there's no studies on that, or what it means long term, and I think that it's probably a good idea to keep this stuff away from your kids. It's lazy parents that want to just plop their kids down in front of a screen and not have to deal with them. What you really should be doing is reading to your kids and spending time with your kids. And I know that it's hard for people that have, full busy lives, but, it's not a good idea to just give them some kind of attention pacifier.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I also saw some people saying, okay, if you need to put your kid in front of a screen for a time, does it have to be content slop? Can you put on like a nature documentary or something? Something where language is actually used.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be quite as stupefying as this CGI vomit.
Yeah, if you're going to put your child in front of the screen, I imagine that it's better to have them listening to the words that
Yeah.
you would want them to be able to understand and use.
Yeah.
Wasn't it always supposed to be that you're supposed to, when you're a kid, before you have a child, you should have them listen to classical music?
Oh yeah, I don't know if any of those
was that ever debunked, or was that
were
just feels like one of those
debunked,
things
but-
that just kind of showed up one day and everyone started doing it?
I
And
feel like
you
that
know,
was just, kind of snooty people being like, "Oh, look at my child listens
I'm
to
gonna
classical
try
music."
this one more time to see if it was. It might have been on X's side because people are saying the stream is fine. So I was trying to see if
Oh,
we can get
okay.
this to work here.
maybe they deleted it because they wanted to delete the evidence.
No, it's still doing it. It wasn't doing it before. I don't know what it is.
They're trying to stop us
I
from
think that's what it
exposing
is.
Cocomelon.
I think
That's what they're
it is.
doing.
The Cocomelon lobby is trying to stop us.
Seriously, though. And I think it's not just that. Cocomelon was also talked about for putting like weird themes about gay relationships into their episodes. There was one where this little boy was dressing up in a ballet tutu and had two dads. We talked about this on the show, I
Yeah,
remember.
I remember that.
So it's not just the fact that it's brain rot slop. It's also that there are hidden messages in it as well. And people just want to get the easy way out. I know that there are so many parenting arguments online. Like, I don't know if your algorithms show you any of this, but I see toxic mom forums arguing about all manner of things. I mean,
Yeah.
they're talking about, like, formula, and they're talking about co-sleeping and all of this stuff.
A Facebook mom group might be the most toxic
Yes.
place on planet Earth.
Like, people are constantly arguing about parenting methods. Like, is corporal punishment okay? Like, it just goes on and on and on. And I don't weigh in because I don't know what it's like to be a parent, and I just don't feel that strongly about it because of that.
Yeah.
But this is one exception where I really feel I can say this is a bad choice for any child. Like,
Yeah.
I would never let a child in my care be attached like this to...
So what would you? What do you think when you do have kids? What are you gonna play them? Or what are you gonna? Nothing. Just read to them.
Talk
No,
to
they're
them, yeah.
they're going to watch SpongeBob.
Okay.
No,
First 3 seasons.
I think you need to reach a certain age before you even have the privilege to do that kind of thing, because it really changes their brain chemistry.
It feels that way.
does.
I mean,
And
if you, I imagine, and this is not that I have like firsthand experience, but I imagine if you spend time reading to your kid, talking to your kid, and actually interacting with your kid, as opposed to sitting your kid in front of an algorithm curated distraction machine, like, I imagine the child's brain is going to develop, properly.
Yeah.
right, well, boredom is really important. Like,
Yeah, we were talking about this yesterday.
children
like,
are
it's
so
important to-
insulated from discomfort and boredom actually is what can make your child into an individual and not just a product of their environment. If they have to make their own fun and entertain and amuse themselves,
Yeah.
but they're
And that and the
kind of
thing is
being
that can
insulated
be,
from even the possibility.
that can be stripped away from you eventually once they get to the age of majority and they get a phone anyways, because we talked about yesterday, like, look, I had to grow up in an age where you had to make do with, like, you didn't have a phone, you didn't have an iPad, you had to go outside and find something to do lest you be sitting around and be bored all day. But now, I'm an adult and I still find myself having to, like, tell myself to not sit on my phone and use it as a crutch rather than just going out and doing something.
Well, I had plenty of times where I had to entertain myself. I went outside and I looked at frogs and stuff like that, and it was like that. But I also wasn't raised being totally insulated from screens either. Like,
Yeah.
I watched SpongeBob and I watched Cartoon Network and I watched Veggie Tales, and that even I feel like is less destructive than having a screen in your face.
I could watch. I could watch some stuff. Like, I think probably watched like Sesame Street when I was really little. But like, there was a lot of go outside. I mean, as a Gen Xer,
Yeah.
I'm the generation that people called the neglected children. You know, my parents were very much like,
latchkey
go
kids.
outside and don't come back until the street lights come on,
That was
or
my
go
life, too.
outside and play. Go outside and play, like constantly. You know,
Mm-hmm.
For us, it was my dad would whistle from across the neighborhood, and I would hear it all the way over at the park, and it was like a Pavlovian. I would just like turn around and start walking home as soon as I heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the problem is putting it in front of infants as well. When they're infants, you should be talking to them, because the more words that a child hears when they're an infant, the larger their vocabulary becomes when they're older. That's
I mean, people
big
talk
deal.
down to Gen Z a lot about their lack of communication skills
yeah.
and their lack of curiosity and accountability and independence. And all of those are totally valid criticisms of Gen Z. But if you think that's a problem now with Gen Z being new to the workplace and the adult world, you will be shocked at what comes next, because the generation raised by millennials is going to be exponentially in a worse situation because of the way they were raised. Millennial parents will go down in history as some of the most selfish and neglectful, because they were not raised with these technologies. They were not raised with screens, with smartphones, with easily accessible internet. So they don't really understand from experience how destructive it can be.
So you think it'll rebound? when
Gen
the next
Z understands
generation-
that.
Gen Z will do better about parenting with screens than millennials.
I really think there will be a swing back with Gen Z parents because of the way we're aware it can be destructive. I was raised in part with a smartphone. I got my first smartphone when I was 11. And because I know that that is distracting, it's destructive, that I had social media from that young age.
I wish I had faith that it was actually going to get better. I don't think it will. I think that
If
Gen
you
Alpha
have
will
the context, like, you can't really blame some of the older parents for not knowing what would happen, because it was just this entirely new thing. But I think if Gen Z understands the ways that it hurt them to have unrestricted internet access, they might be more willing to protect their kids from that and make the sacrifices necessary.
That is a level of introspection that I'm not sure the average everyday person is even going to participate in these days. So I don't know if I agree. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know if I agree, but we'll have to wait. We'll check back in 10 years, 20 years, and see how things are going.
Also, you have to think about this. Gen Z is discouraged constantly from starting families for a lot
And
of reasons.
propagandized into the most
Ridiculous.
nihilistic.
The ones who will end up having families anyways are doing so very deliberately and intentionally and going against the grain by doing so. So I think that actually will have a positive effect on the way that they parent, because they're doing it not because it's the default, but because they really want to do so and they're planning their life around doing that.
We will have to wait and see.
Okay. We have a 20 from Chris G. I've got nothing except you're great, and hi, Phil.
Hi.
Thank you.
Phil says hello.
Shane H. Wilder said, if I worried about everyone who hated me, I'd be miserable. I know who my friends are, and that is all that matters. Well, I'm sorry that there's some hate going your way. I wasn't aware of any of that, but, you know, good on you for ignoring it. Ethan, the felonious poet, said, Phil Labonte, the anti-commie guy. I guess they're just chanting your name.
Yes.
Pop Culture Junkie
fine.
said, in my lifelong education, you folks are recess.
Okay.
What?
You know what's crazy? So every time I would put us on screen to watch that video, it would start to skip. But if I just play the video when we're not on a screen where they can see it, it plays fine.
That's super weird.
I wonder if it will let me do it if I play it here. Like right now, it's playing completely fine. Playing. Hold on. Now I have to see if... Okay, so now it's playing. It's like I had to start
Weird.
it in a different screen. There.
There's a $20.
I hope it's an X problem. We have a 20 from Mr. Moose Knuckle. Milhouse, tell Bart to come home. Bart's at Nelson's. Who's Nelson?
Did you see
Is this
that
from The Simpsons?
the woman who voiced Milhouse for 35 years just retired?
Oh.
35 years.
The last of my kind said replacing drywall and listening to PCC equals Liv Moss for lunch. Taco Bell is superior because of Baja Blast. Vote yes for Muppet Lawyer.
I am ending the poll on that note, ladies and gentlemen. I asked everybody what food hits better at 2 in the morning, Taco Bell or Subway, and lo and behold, 77% of you say Taco Bell. That was the right choice.
Obviously. Who's going to Subway at 2 a.m.?
I think I might have done it once, but most of the time I just drove by it and said, why are they still...
Actually, who's going to Subway ever?
Ever?
At any time of day.
Yeah.
I will never understand that. V. Witt said, I'm trying to start a new online troll. The Netherlands isn't real. It's an online meme. Can we get on board with this? Also, hi, Phil.
Hi.
Blush? Does he have a crush on you? I think that's a little
I don't
uncomfortable.
know.
Corey Anderson said Ellen is on the Diddy list. She has a very sketch tweet about him. Also, I challenge Jussie Smollett to a fist fight anytime, anywhere.
The sketch tweet about her and Diddy was just like, it just looked like the typical Hollywood, my publicist told your publicist that we should look like we're actually friends.
What was it?
I don't remember. It was just something.
It's like Ellen and Diddy are friends, sort
was
of like
not-
Martha Stewart and Snoop Dogg.
So in the chat, somebody said Subway's not open at 2 a.m. Yeah, that's why it's weird. So I lived in, like, I used to work in a town called East St. Paul in the Twin Cities, like at a Target over there, and it was there was a Subway over there. And it was the only time I ever in my entire life saw a Subway open at 2 in the morning, and never understood that because most restaurants, granted now none of them are open 24 hours, but at that time I was like, no other one I've seen in Minnesota is 24 hours. I can't imagine there were any in Chicago.
If
That
you
were
want
open
a
at 2 in the
sandwich,
morning.
you're going to go to Jersey Mike's, right?
Not at 2 in the morning.
Not at
Not
2
at
in the
2 in the
morning.
morning. I've even seen a Subway that had a drive-through. No idea how that works.
There's a Little Caesars over here with the drive-thru.
V. Witt said, my other meme I'm trying is the Cavill baby is AI. Oh, did Henry Cavill have his baby?
Oh, did he?
Nice. V. Witt said, Phil, stop making me like you with logic.
No.
Facts and logic.
This
I
feels
refuse.
romantic.
He destroyed your hatred with facts and logic.
The last of my kind said, for the record, replacing drywall because I ran PEX to my whole house, not from bumps of pre-workout while wearing a visor upside down and backwards. Hashtag not Kyle. What?
I have no idea.
What does that mean? Susie Daza sent us $1.99 without a message.
Thank you.
Susie. Stefan Buttle said, I love you, Phil. That remains all. No Diddy.
No Diddy. All right. That's
They're
cool.
having a lot of feelings for you today.
I appreciate that.
Sketch Therapy said Pewds quit while ahead and had a family fairy tale ending.
Always
It's
a good
very,
thing.
very good to see. Chris L said priest that let Sabrina make that video was fired.
I don't think that the priest was fired. I think the priest was relieved of the administrative
Yeah.
duties of his job other than being a priest, which, you know, might be an improvement. He's like, wait, so now I don't gotta do all this bullshit office work and I get to keep my job? Win?
Yeah, I don't think that's really how that works. You can't get fired from being a priest, and I don't think that they excommunicated him or anything, so he's good.
Look, a little bit of corruption with Mayor Eric Adams, you know, let a blasphemous music video happen. If that gets you relieved of having to do paperwork, so be it.
So be it.
Shane H. Wilder said Pewds does art, Hitler did art. Pewds is literally Hitler.
Literally.
Some leftist probably. Yeah, I mean, that follows. That,
I mean,
that
clearly.
syllogism is totally sound. Nate said Brett is better than Donald Trump.
Thank you.
If that's what DT means, I guess.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I disagree. Trump is better.
I figured you'd say that. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
James Kotoridis said, hey crew, question for Phil. Rust in peace or peace sells and why? Cheers.
Rust in Peace. And I think the songs on Rust in Peace are overall better. I actually was just listening to a bunch of Megadeth yesterday. I also think that So Far So Good So What is better than either of those two, which is kind of counterintuitive for most Megadeth fans. So I think there's a lot of good stuff on all three of the records. I think that Hook and Mouth from So Far So Good So What is extremely extremely predictive of today. So it's a song about censorship and references a lot of or speaks about a possibility that have actually materialized today. So if you guys haven't listened to Hook and Mouth by Megadeth, go listen to it and read the lyrics too.
Thank you.
You know, one of the most annoying things is like
Trying to talk over the
yes, Crisis Party. Yes.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
See, look at us having fun while you just sit there seething.
Like I said, I'm more fun.
I got rid of my YouTube
Before
Premium.
you say that, we have a
We got 20.
$50
Oh, holy
super
crap.
Very
chat
cool.
from Witcher Auren, or Oren. I can't usually catch these until the night shift, but I love you guys. To Brett and Mary, I enjoy listening to your takes, most of the topics. To Phil, my daughter and I love it when Divine pops across the playlist. Happy Thanksgiving, and let's go.
Thank
go.
you very much. Appreciate it.
That's a good time to remind everyone that next
Thank you for
week,
tuning in.
Thank you so much for tuning in and getting to tune in live. That next week, because of the holiday, we will be off Wednesday through Friday. So Tuesday of next week, we will have a 3-hour stream, which we are going to have a collection of guests. Hopefully, we'll have a 4-chair show the whole time and have people, rotate through an hour at a time. So you should tune in for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's a party.
It's a party. But my point is like I deleted my YouTube Premium, or I canceled it. It's good until December 13th. And as always, like as soon as you get rid of something, you want it back. So as soon as I canceled it, I immediately started watching more YouTube than I have in probably the last 2 years.
Gotta make the most of it.
Yeah, at a time. Same thing happened when I canceled like all my streaming services. It's like I was like suddenly there's so much I want to watch on Peacock right now, despite the fact that I just canceled it. Very, very frustrating. So I need to like trick myself into thinking I canceled stuff so that I'll use stuff more frequently.
I don't have any of the streaming services
No.
except for Tubi, and mainly my subscriptions are to like people on Patreon.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's it.
That actually does give me a chance to say, guys, I started a show last night called Wild Cards. It's a Canadian show that came out in 2024. And it is unbelievably good. If you've liked any of my recommendations in the past, especially if you were a fan of any of the 2010 USA Network Blue Sky dramedies, this is a show that's a mix of like white collar, castle, and fairly legal. And for the most part, ignores stupid politics, except for one very, very minor gripe I have about the motivations of the lead actress. But it's mostly squashed by the fact that the scripts are very, very fun. It avoids getting into doomerism most of the time, and it really is just light fare that's really, really worth watching. Unfortunately, right now, if you're going to watch season 1, I think it was commissioned by the CBC to be a CW original, so you have to like watch it on the CW app, meaning you get like 2 minutes and 30 seconds of commercials like every 10 minutes. It's insane. But, whether you sail the high seas or you have access to Amazon Prime and you want to buy it, I can't give it a higher recommendation. Again, other than that one little gripe I have about one character's motives, it's fun, it's light, it's great. I think everyone should go check it out.
Brett recommends.
Brett recommends.
Okay, let me see. Where
Canadian
we were.
royalty like Jason Priestley and Terry Chen are in it.
I would
It's
have thought
fantastic.
it's Canadian and out in 2024. That both counts against it.
No, not in this case.
Greg Duvier said, Phil, YouTube Music gave me a yearly recap. Most played song was Divided, first listed to May 3rd, played 738 times. I will do my best to get that to 1,000.
I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much.
Nate said, how many parties for Brett to do an entire episode with Chris Rock voice?
I can
That
only
would be
do the
freaking hilarious.
I can only do the Chris Rock voice when I'm imitating something he's actually
Would that be
said.
racist?
Yes. I don't know. I can only do it when I'm actually imitating something I've heard him say because I can sound it out.
But what they really want is the NPR voice.
Yes, that is true.
They want calm Brett.
Yeah.
V. Witt said, Phil, stop making me like you with all your logic.
I
Was
refuse.
that the second time he
I
said
refuse.
Sketch Therapy said, PewDiePie is everything Andrew Tate says he is, an exemplary man who is true to himself and values family over all. Commies hate his nuclear family. Hi, Phil.
Yeah. Hi. How you doing? And I think that's actually that's legit.
But I do think that he should go back to either Sweden or Italy instead of living in Japan. The ancestral homeland needs to be reclaimed. On the Raggedy Ann said, new party sound election meltdown compilation. Well, we're so past that, you know?
Yeah.
It's going to get outdated. I mean, it's already kind of outdated.
Yep.
Yeah.
With the meme cycle moving as fast as it does.
The meme cycle moves real fast.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, if prostitution were legalized, a majority of men's issues would end. Single men would have a stress release, and wives would stop using sex as a weapon.
No.
Insane take.
That's
I hope your marriage is okay. I know you've mentioned that you're married before, so I don't feel like I'm intruding on your private business by mentioning it. It sounds like you don't have a great situation at home. And I disavow everything you just said.
For prostitution to become like something, never mind prostitution being legal, like it would have to be like socially acceptable.
Yeah, like a lot of them, they're just never going to put themselves in a situation where they can't imagine doing that.
Yeah, it's not the case.
There's that whole discourse that's going on Twitter about like, it's like, as like women are like, as a former sex worker, and then they make some grand statement about men as if a person who worked as a sex worker has any idea what it's like to interact with normal men all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Which makes like you can't draw that conclusion because your sample size is completely tainted.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Erebos Rex said, would you say that largely men want to feel competent and have agency, and that we're currently lacking both?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should, as a man,
Pretty
desire
accurate.
heavily to want to feel competent.
So you shouldn't want to feel competent. You should want to be those things.
One of the things that is
exercise your competency on a regular basis.
One of the things that is thought of as masculine, but not talked about as masculine, is competency. Like, people look to men to be competent. And no matter whether or not people want to admit it, people, and not saying that women can't be competent, but people don't look to women as a source of competency. That's just not generally the case. There are plenty of things that women are competent about and stuff, but competency is a masculine trait. So you should want to be competent at many things.
V. Witt said, Phil, last time, stop making me like you.
I refuse.
All right.
This is getting a little uncomfortable. I feel like you're flirting right now. Okay, we're going to talk about men's hobbies and why women hate them. There was this Reddit post
because they're men's
that was on r/relationship advice that went incredibly viral over the weekend, and I felt like we needed to address that first. This says, I screamed at my husband over his hobbies, and now he has changed. I don't know how to fix this. I need some advice about a situation with my husband. We've been married for 4 years. He has a room where he keeps all his hobbies. Sim racing, aviation setups, soccer analysis tools, Lego sets, music production equipment. Basically, it's his sanctuary. He's always inviting me into his space to be part of his interests. I love him and appreciate that he wants to include me, but sometimes I just need some time for myself. Recently, I snapped. I yelled at him, saying some hurtful things that I didn't mean, like how his interests bore me, that he needs to get a social life, and even questioned why I married him. Since then, he has completely changed. He stopped spending time in his room, moved to sleeping on the couch, and barely talks to me. He even ignored our usual tradition of watching our home nation's soccer team play, something he would never skip before. So this became an incredibly hot debate on X. Was she in the wrong, or did he cross the line trying to force all of his special interests on her and not taking enough interest in her interests? And should he even have a hobby room in his own home in the first place? That seems a little strange to me. The whole man cave culture. It's your home. You don't need to have a corner of it, you know?
No, that indicates that no other room in the house is his alone, whereas she would have her own space, I'm sure, as well. But for him, it's more about, look, these are things that take a long time to make, and he doesn't want them getting knocked over or ruined.
If you got kids, that makes a little bit more sense.
Do you agree with me about man caves, though? I find it incredibly bizarre that man caves are a thing.
I don't know.
No, I have no problem with like as somebody who likes things just so. There's a lot of things that I have that I would want to just know that aren't going to get touched or messed with.
And she didn't really say anything about his hobbies here. Like, she didn't say anything negative about the hobbies. She just said she didn't like how he was monopolizing her time to include her in these hobbies. Like, sort of the way that...
Go through what she said again.
I've babysat a lot, and I know that, you know, when you're babysitting, this kid is excited about you being their new friend. They bring you into the playroom, and they show you all of their toys, and then they tell you stories about the toys, and you're pretending to be interested the whole time because they're a child. And it sounds like she ended up in a situation like that with her own husband, which is really not the dynamic you want.
There's, like... If you are in a relationship and you care about the person, then there's nothing weird or wrong about being like, okay, this is not something that I would have gone and searched out on my own, but because you're interested in it, I'll go ahead and actually spend time and see if it's something that I'd be interested in. There's this show called Emily in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
JD Vance mentioned it
Yeah, he
on
did.
what's it called? And Sarah, my girlfriend, was like, "Oh, I love this show." She's like, "Let's watch it." I'm like, "Okay," and it's cute, it's fine, and it's fun to watch with her. But I would never have gone and watched the show on my own, you know?
Thank you.
I have turned Olivia into a boomer who watches like police procedurals, and so my regular point is I was like, "What would you like to watch tonight?" And if she says that she wants to watch, she's like, "Let's watch NCIS Los Angeles." I'm like, I win.
Yeah,
I've turned you into a boomer.
There's nothing wrong with like trying things that you would not have tried on your own with your significant other.
That's part of
like that's part
growing,
exactly
growing closer together.
Exactly.
Like,
so like,
and to the point to the contrary, like there are things like, look, I know friends who would bring their girlfriends skating. That mortifies me to no end. I would never do that.
You would rather have much different hobbies than the person you're dating than have the same ones.
TV shows is unique, right? Like that's something you can experience together at home. That makes sense to me. But skating is something that's cathartic and personal to me that goes far beyond any sort of romantic relationship that I ever to an age where before I had romantic relationships. So my attachment to that is vastly different than how I view looking at entertainment or any other such hobbies. And that's good. It's okay to have hobbies that you don't share together. Do I think that he probably pushed her a little too hard? Maybe. Do I think her response was awful? Yes, she had an absolutely awful response to this.
And who knows if any of these Reddit posts are even like real or they're just rage bait at the end of the day. But moving on from that, we are going to return to a topic that we have discussed before on the show, which are what are the least and most attractive hobbies for men according to women? And allegedly, this study has ranked them.
What do we want to go through first? Least or most?
Let's go through least first, so we can end on a positive note. The top 15 least attractive hobbies to women for men. First one is comic books. So I'm sure a lot of people in the chat are already feeling called out. Then cosplay. Debating. I think debating is attractive, so I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
It's because they don't want to lose the argument.
Drinking is great. They should drink. I don't know what MTG refers to.
Magic the Gathering.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. That's also
drinking,
on there.
So they're saying like drinking as a hobby, like
okay, maybe not. Like if they're drinking alone,
drinking
unattractive.
As a hobby
if they're drinking socially,
yeah.
That's attractive. Okay. So I should make a distinction there. Anime is on here. Agree. Makeup. Definitely don't want to date a guy who's into doing his makeup. That's awful. He's probably gay, so he's not interested anyway. Crypto, that's not a hobby, but if he knows about crypto and doesn't mansplain it to me constantly, that's fine.
I was watching this YouTube short the other day about it was like judging supercar drivers and their hobbies or something like that, and one is like the Lamborghini bros when they get out just want to show, they immediately take out their phone to show you their crypto portfolio. I was like, maybe I could buy that.
Yeah. Cigars are also on here. I'm surprised that smoking in general wouldn't be, but cigars specifically are found unattractive by women. I can see how cigar smoking seems a little bit LARPy. Like, oh, I'm like old world. I have a smoking jacket.
Don't let Michael Knowles hear you say that.
Yeah.
I will not let him hear me say that. I think he would blacklist me from this industry. Clubbing is on here. Definitely unattractive.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, hey, I don't want to spend time with you. I want to spend time with sexually charged strangers in dark rooms drinking
Yeah.
alcohol.
That would go for both sexes. I think
Yes.
everyone would agree that clubbing is not even a hobby, but if it is one of your hobbies, that is unattractive.
It's not a hobby.
But drinking socially, that's one thing. Clubbing is an entirely other.
Well, they don't
thing.
really distinguish whether drinking or marijuana are listed as social use, or is it a guy with a subscription to High Times who talks to you about various strains constantly.
Yeah, like,
Those are different things.
Bro, it's sativa, bro.
Those are, all I'm saying is like those are different
Yeah,
things. Like,
marijuana was right there underneath clubbing.
Somebody, you know, who enjoys smoking weed once in a while is very different from somebody who wants to talk to you about strains
There are
and
different
how it's
types of
very,
weed heads. Funko Pops was next.
I'm with Rhaegar
I
in
could
the
not
chat.
agree more.
I'm with Rhaegar in the chat. Who goes to clubs in 2024?
They're still around. It's still a thing.
idea.
But yeah, if you collect Funko Pops, that's just absolutely revolting. You should not do that.
Who are the guys that are putting makeup on as a hobby?
I guess they must be gay, right?
Well,
but these
no.
days, who knows? They're like putting on makeup so that they can seem like a male
They must be
feminist.
gay, right?
Arguing online was also on this list, and trolling. I think that is the most attractive male hobby. You should be arguing and shitposting all the time.
I think that's more the idea of time management and, you know.
It's the best use of your time. What are you talking about?
They're like, I asked my boyfriend to fix something and he's too busy trolling people on Twitter.
Right.
You know,
yeah, I can
time
see how that
management
would
matters.
turn into a conflict. Porn was also on here. Again, not a hobby, but if it is a hobby of yours, that's incredibly self-destructive. So agree on that. Gambling is also here. Yeah, if he's like into sports betting, it's got to have a sub 90 IQ.
Unless he's making a lot of money, in which case all of the women would change their answer on this
Sure,
and say
yeah.
that it's a very attractive hobby as long as he's rich.
And then I don't even know how this is on here, but the last one listed is manosphere. What the hell does
What
that
does it
mean?
Like, look, as long
Watching YouTubers?
if the dude is watching a bunch of Andrew Tate videos, as long as it's not like affecting his day-to-day life, I don't see why it matters. If he treats you well and he doesn't like let the language offend you, if you agree with the things that he's talking about, then I don't see the point. Now, the difference what they're saying here is that they don't like the things that the guys in that realm are saying and the guys into it, in which case I'm saying you guys clearly have different values. Why are you dating anyways?
I would be pretty disturbed if a guy is like a super big Andrew Tate fan, but he acts totally normal.
Also, I wouldn't be
in
surprised if they're
relationship
like,
settings.
they put that there, but what they really mean is a dude who's like, yes, I think men deserve equal rights in divorce. And they're like, oh, so he's a manosphere type. He believes in, getting equal custody of his kids and stuff like this. Depends on who made this survey.
Well, I guess if they're MGTOW, then you would never know because you're not dating them.
Yeah.
And then this is the list of the most attractive male hobbies, and I want to hear from both of you if you think that this is unrealistic.
Okay, I'm putting it on screen.
First one is reading. I agree with that one. I think that's an attractive hobby. You're trying to learn things and edify yourself.
It signals a certain approach to the world, right? Like, and even if he's not reading a lot, if he doesn't understand the value of what can come from that, then it's probably lost on him. Sure. I always talk about, like, look, I wish I had the patience to read more. I mean, I guess work requires me to read, but this is reading junk every day. That's not the same thing as reading a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Foreign languages and playing instruments also on here. Both.
Again.
Like, you can see what women find most attractive at the top of this list is something intellectual. Mm-hmm. Like, if he's intellectually curious.
Was video games on the other list?
No, it was not.
Okay.
It was on the other list we talked about before.
I would have put, like, I know that women will never put it on here, but video games work a lot of the same part of your brain as any of these hobbies that are seen as good. It's just how it's framed by society.
I disagree. Because you're consuming media.
I mean, it's active engagement. I mean, depending on the game, it's active engagement of your brain.
Yeah. And Musk has been talking on X a lot about, or actually no, it was when he sat down with Joe Rogan. He was talking about using the people that play video games have significantly better hand-eye coordination, and if you're a surgeon and you play video games, you have better results.
That's cool.
Because you are practicing your fine motor skills and stuff more, because you have to be able to. And there's immediate feedback. If you do something wrong, your character dies.
It's problem solving and figuring out the world. So there's active. It's not the same thing as
he was talking about it as
dexterity,
using dexterity and stuff like that.
But it uses a different part of your brain that passively consumes a television show. Like most of the time when I'm watching TV, it's like background noise, and I'm also on my phone, whereas unless I'm reviewing it and I'm taking notes for it, whereas if you're playing a video game, you're not doing it as background noise. Your brain is actively seeking to finish an objective.
I would still say that in terms of hobbies that are intellectually edifying, video games would be subordinate to something like reading a book. Definitely, because I think reading a book requires far more active imagination.
They're gonna work on two different parts of your brain, though. Mm-hmm. Because reading a book is going to, obviously you'll be learning something, so that would be one thing. But if you're playing a video game, that's not going to be so much learning as it is going to be working on your physical motor skills or sharpening them.
The rest of these were cooking, woodworking, painting, writing, gardening.
Okay.
I would find it incredibly unattractive if a man were into gardening.
I will,
be honest.
yeah, but this might be one of those things
gross.
where women don't actually know what they like. They like the idea of liking that, but then when they would see it, it would give them what Mary would call
photography. If he's a photographer, he's just a pervert.
Farmers have been getting laid for a long time, so don't tell me
Not a farmer, a gardener. He's planting flowers.
I do want to point out that several of these, whether it's playing instruments, cooking, woodworking, painting, all of them are ones that can be turned into very successful content creator careers, right? Like half of my YouTube Shorts feed is interesting woodworking
These
videos.
other ones were a little bit random. Astronomy. No, I don't know if I've even met someone who's into that.
Again, Mary, this is women thinking that they like the idea of this, not actually liking.
Hiking, he's gonna kill you. Archery, that one should be at the top of the list. I think that's really cool.
Wait, what? Why is he going to kill you because he likes hiking?
He's like, let's go on a hike where no one can hear you scream.
This is just a modern day shitlib thing to do as a first date idea.
Blacksmithing. I don't know any blacksmiths. And traveling is not a hobby, but it would be cool if he's interested in
traveling means he has
and
money
doing
to
things.
go travel, so they like the idea that he can go travel because he has the money to go do so.
I guess. I mean, I've also known plenty of people who they're not wealthy and they still travel because it's an interest of theirs.
A little bit of breaking news. There's multiple ambulances and Secret Service have been spotted leaving Mar-a-Lago. So, yeah. Don't know anything more than that, but
wasn't aware of that.
What just happened in the past 5-10 minutes that it started to make its way onto X. So
that's incredibly worrying.
Yeah, keep an eye out.
On that note, I guess we should wrap up.
All right.
Okay. The last of my kind said, "Misery breeds brotherhood." That's deep.
It's true.
Alex Makenbeds, and in the midst of rewriting his book, said, "I've started watching this show called The Apprentice. The host seems really interesting. I wonder if he should run for office one day."
Yeah, probably.
Gosh, based on what we just heard, I'm feeling a little bit antsy. Corey Anderson said, "Mary, milady, do you have any pets?" No, I do not. I mean, I can barely take care of myself. Weary Traveler said, "A cute drought, but no cringe drought says a lot about society." Very true. Yeah. I mean, there's never going to be a cringe drought if I'm around. Mike Jenkins said, "Plot twist, Chicago is actually now MAGA country."
It clearly is.
Philip Reed said, "My guys, a simple thing that you need to do, find a quiet place, preferably outdoors, and sit in silence with no tech. Process your thoughts. It will help." I agree. Pop Culture Junkie said, 90% of having a successful life is knowing what to blow off. Don't let people, situations, or similar outside forces control your life. Concentrate on what you can control, ignore the rest.
Yeah, absolutely. Focusing too much on the things that you can't control leads to a sense of powerlessness that will then come out in the form of envy and hatred.
Can really drive you crazy.
Yep.
President Jay said, did you see the Coachella 2025 lineup? Yo Gabba Gabba is going to play. Nothing more cringe than a bunch of adults partying to a show for babies. Is that true? That's awful.
Want nothing to do with
How far we've fallen. James Coterides said, whose idea was it to do the Mary internal Alex Jones monologue,
where did
fading
that-
into Phil dropping a hard C? Pure genius. That is Shane
Hard
H.
C?
Wilder, the C word, the see you next Tuesday word.
Oh.
That was Shane H. Wilder who made that edit, and we posted it because it was perfect. It was chef's kiss.
It's exactly
So,
what Mary was thinking.
credit to him. That is actually what my internal monologue is. Every time you start talking, I'm just remembering Alex Jones clips.
This is the Ellen DeGeneres tweet. It was happy birthday P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, or as I call him, Cuddle McSnuggle Stuff.
Okay, that's really creepy.
You don't need to know why. I mean, that just sounds like lame. Like
He likes to snuggle.
Yeah, like that was. You thought it was a
creepy.
joke. Like when she put it out, you thought it was a joke about, oh, Puff Daddy's like this cool blah blah blah, and she's only saying this because it's like a cutesy name. But then
It's creepy in retrospect.
Yes.
Yes. Not in 2016 when it was put out.
We have a 20 from Djo Talkin' Nerdy. Speaking of unattractive, I just made a pitch video to try and get an interview with Tim Pool to make some indie comic books. I tagged him and the rest of ya on Twitter and YouTube. Can we spread the word? It's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
birthday.
Hope it works out for you.
Yep.
Hope it works out for
I
you.
can't really do anything about that because I'm not Tim Pool.
It's fun. It sounded like you were saying that in reference to his
Oh,
birthday.
no.
Hope your birthday works out for you.
Yeah. VWit said, they know we know they're lying. We know they know they're lying, but
Yeah.
maybe, just maybe, we may be unburdened by what has been. Also,
easy with
hi, Phil, put a mocha on, and I'm not reading that.
What's a mocha?
There will never be a mocha on here.
It's never going to happen.
As we know.
Red Snow said, just got here. Who orders Subway at 2 a.m.? Literally only Jussie Smollett. Ever. And he kept the sandwich. He held on to that sandwich through the entire attack.
Unbelievable.
Zach said, props to Shane for having the balls to say the N-word several times on the members only last night, with or
Shane.
without a card from Kanye.
Did he? I didn't hear him say that.
He did?
I know Milo did, but I didn't know that Shane did.
I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to confuse us.
Maybe.
It's an inside joke or something. That's funny, though, if true. Nate said Cocomelon is legitimately a psyop. True. Known Undesirable said, what's having the most profound effect on children is the rapid rate of scene changes and transitions, and that it's designed this way.
I do laugh because this is actually something I point out. Tim had a tweet like a couple months ago. He goes, they used to not know how to end songs, so they just fade out.
I mean, the thing is, I've
it
done
works
fade
for
outs.
certain types of
I've
songs,
done
right?
fade outs, and I won't do them anymore. It is true that like there are times where they're okay, but like it's very rare. Just write an ending. It doesn't like just hang on the E if that like that's fine.
But my point is that used to be true in television as well. So if you go back and watch old, network television shows with their ad breaks now are hard cut at the end of a scene so that they can pick back up where it was. It used to be the type of thing where like you watch an old episode of the X-Files and like Scully and Mulder end up in a forest and look left and right and just kind of fades to black and goes to commercial. You don't see a whole lot of that anymore. They find more artful ways to cut away. So editing has gotten tighter and more fluid as time has gone on, and they've learned more about how to make things.
Mm-hmm. VWit said, okay, loving pink hair Mary and God tier Phil. Hi, Brett. I do not have pink hair. Does it look like I have pink hair on camera?
I think that it might be the room that we're in here.
I have had pink hair in the past.
The white behind me is extremely stark.
Yeah.
I like it. The DJ Foy said, if my 14-month-old niece being extra around the house found that putting on a YouTube video of the 3 tenors performing makes her calm, I guess you mean, and happy. I don't know what you're referring to.
I don't know what that is.
VWit said, nah, no crush on Phil. Just think he's awesome.
Cheers.
Red Snow said Subway is closer than Mike's. I'll deal with slop.
Sometimes you just put up with whatever's closest.
You need the bread is cake, so you're having a cake sandwich.
Yeah.
Hope you're okay with that. Dingus Khan said, anyone see the AI Jesus confessional in Switzerland?
I sent that to Mary this morning gleefully, knowing she'd have takes. We'll probably talk about it tomorrow.
Unfortunately, yes, I did see.
Okay, I wasn't gleeful, but I said, I think Mary will have thoughts on this.
I did.
Yep.
They were all negative. Shane H.
Shocking.
Wilder said Taco Bell is superior. Also, who goes to Subway when there are much better sandwich shops like Jersey Mike's? This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yes.
Jersey Mike's is really, really good, to be honest with you.
The Harsh Truth said, after you've wrecked your system with a gallon of alcohol, you may as well go for the Taco Bell. LOL. This is why Taco Bell Cantina exists. Of course. Steve said, Mary, you speak when you're on PCC, but when you're on IRL, you are so quiet. Why? You're intelligent and well-spoken. Well, thank you, first of all.
Because she knows what's good for her.
It's also because of that. I am very discerning with the political takes. I'm going to speak publicly. But, you know, there are a lot of reasons. There are more people on IRL, first of all. You have to give people more room to talk because of that, and people who flew all the way out there to be on the show. So I want to be considerate. And usually when we're on PCC, it's just us having a two-way conversation. Mm-hmm. I also do way less research on political news than on pop culture news, so I'm less informed than everybody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's mainly that type of thing. And then you try to interject, and then people are like, why are you interrupting? But then if you don't interject, they're like, no one's letting Mary talk. So like you're just gonna get...
Always ignore the chat on IRL.
It's assumptions. Look, no matter what.
You guys here in the chat on PCC, you're wonderful people. You're all friendly. Everybody's here for a good time. It's peace, love, and understanding. IRL is a cesspool. There are.
We're like Super Weenie Hut Juniors.
There are a handful. There are a handful of nice people and cool people. The people that are most vocal and most loud in the IRL chat are the trolls. They are there specifically to see if they can get a rise out of people that are watching the show or just to say terrible things. So you guys are all wonderful. You're not like that here. But part of the thing is like it's bad over there. Yeah, it's bad.
Red Snow said, Phil, what's your favorite Death album?
I don't think that I have a favorite, because I've listened to Death, but I haven't listened to a ton of Death. I mean, I guess maybe Individual Thought Patterns, but I'm not familiar enough with their stuff to be like, oh, this is blah, 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 and I like this about yada, yada. But I did play a show with Chuck Schuldiner before he passed away, though. That's
the
cool.
Wit said, Brett, can you go fix GM's cameras? Still can't. Gamer
do you mean
is having
Gamer
some kind of issue.
I have no idea. I don't know what cameras they run over there, but I can only be responsible.
We
for
have
what's in
enough
here.
issues here.
I was like literally like troubleshooting my camera today because I was having issues with the cord and.
Skateman said, Phil, I just bought the Fall Ideas. He just said the Fall Ideas on vinyl. Do you still make money off of those purchases?
Yes.
Portions
of a penny.
Corey Anderson said, Brett, how come you like toast white and hate mocha black? Are you trying to tell us something? And is that what color is Chloe? Bucket is more white.
I do love Chloe.
You just got called out.
Chloe is a gray cat. I don't know what that's akin to in any respect. I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm a lot more polite and nice to mocha as long as there isn't a camera on me and I'm not being recorded. Yeah. See, I don't need to virtue signal like the rest of you. I treat everyone equally in private, and I don't need to be patted on the back for it. So
you treat everyone equally in private?
Yes.
It's a good idea just to be awful to people all the time.
Yeah. Stephanie said, Phil, I love the new music. Brett and Mary, thanks for keeping me entertained at the end of my workday. Shh, don't tell my boss I'm on the YouTubes. We won't.
Don't do it.
It's our little secret.
Don't do it.
Corey Anderson said, marriage is fine, Mary. Thank you, though. You're welcome. James Kodoridis said, Hook and Mouth is top tier Mustaine prophecy.
Yep.
Killing is my business album with scream vocals would be legendary. Maybe an All That Remains cover?
We'll see. Maybe.
In the chat, they're asking where your stuffed animals are. They think I threw them away.
No,
like
you
I just
did
showed
not.
up one day.
I would have been mad, actually. I really would have been mad if you threw them away, but you wouldn't do that.
I would never do that. Like I'm the idea of the perfect roommate. I'm never gonna touch your stuff.
No, they're safe at home. Lisan Al-Gaibi said, Brett, I know you're a busy man, but any chance you've had my royal feline Nebuchadnezzar on Cute of the Day yet? If not, don't worry. More where that came from. Mary, someone cosplayed as Luce. Hi, Phil.
Hi.
I didn't see that.
I could have swore that we had
I don't
the
know.
kitty on. Resubmit
It's a cool name,
today.
though. Professor Freakoff said she questioned why she married him. TF are you talking about? What do you mean? I don't know.
In relation to what?
I don't know. Ulvin McGoth
Oh,
said...
talking about the third topic.
Yeah, I know.
She's like, why did I mean... Like, everything she said
Of course
was
she shouldn't have
awful.
said it. But she also acknowledged that she didn't mean it and shouldn't have said it,
But
too.
unfortunately,
But you
there
said
are
it.
some things... Look, we have to struggle with this every day. Eventually you'll just say something that you can't take back because the internet is forever. Well, so is saying something to the person you
Yeah.
said that you were going to spend the rest of your life with. And if he has since stopped participating in his hobbies and is now sleeping on the couch, it looks like you went too far. Oh, look, if it isn't the consequences of one's own actions.
Ulvin McGoth said, my saying, I guess, is suffer in silence and die alone. I like die young better. You know? V-Wit said she was in the wrong. Oof, man caves are a thing. Red Snow said Space King isn't on the list, so we good boys.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Warhammer was not on the list. V-Wit said Mary hating on anime again, dems de romantics. I know a lot of people just assume that I'm into anime. Can't imagine why, but let's just dispel that rumor. The Rumbling said nationalize stand your ground / castle laws. I assume that you would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rena Ran That Way said, my boyfriend loves to play video games. I'm not good at them, but I play them with him to make him happy. Well, then I'm happy for you.
Yep.
Video games, weirdly enough, were not on that list, so I guess you're safe. Red Snow said, don't forget kids, praise be to Space King. Jared Klein said, I call BS on the astronomy one. That likely comes with a lot of mansplaining about constellations. No, but if you just find an astrology chick, the astronomy boyfriend and the astrology girlfriend, I'm sure they would be a perfect match.
They're different things.
They're into the celestial movements.
Most
you know?
annoying couple to go on a double date with ever. Ever.
Definitely. Vwit said, this is a weird look at Mary. I hope it's not perm.
What do you mean?
I don't know what that means either.
Who sent that one?
Not permanent.
Vwit.
V-Wit is a regular chatter, so I don't know what he means by a weird look, because we've changed our look for, over a week now.
I guess they think I have pink hair. Shane H. Wilder said, okay, I got reading, cooking, writing, and woodworking. See, if you have enough of those on the attractive list, it all balances out. It's fine. The Alex Jones Mary is the third eternal sunshine of the based mind. The first two were made when Phil went off on bass players. Yeah, you were doing this whole rant about why the bass isn't actually an instrument, and you're not a musician if you play the bass.
If you only play bass.
Yeah, if you only play bass. Jeff, I think this is from New Zealand. OF models already are a form of online prostitution, as going by actual definition of the word, they are distributing a sexual act for money, nude pics. I agree. They are digital streetwalkers. Willem said, Phil, does the publicist / marketing manager ever take the fall for bands? A few of my favorites have made some dumb posts that seems clearly like a checkbox item from management.
Possibly, but not for me. The All That Remains page, sometimes I'll post on there, but that's mostly run by our management. They clear all the not all the posts, but they clear most of the posts, most of the content with the band. But they actually do the posting. But yeah, when it comes to my personal page, it's always all me. But sometimes the band, there's some bands are better than some people are better than other people at social media in general. And so sometimes you'll have, marketing or agency people doing it for them. Yeah.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for some of your own personal posts?
Are you serious? Yes. Oh, yes.
With management, that they're like, hey, take this down. This is bad for PR.
No, since before the existence of Twitter, I was kind of like always like, I'm my own dude and I'm not going to be that guy that's going to take stuff down. So, every managers that I've always had, they end up with heartburn. It's not a matter of, but they don't try to get me to take stuff down because there's only one time where anything was ever changed because of something I said, and it wasn't that anything had to be taken down. We were initially going to call the Madness record Never Sorry, because there's a song on the record called Never Sorry, and I'm not going to say what happened. It's well documented, and I'm not going to bring it up here, but something happened, and they were like, look, let's go with the first single as opposed to just instead of calling it Never Sorry, let's call the record Madness. It kind of fits a little bit better with the idea anyways. And I was like, all right, that's fine. So
I would love to hear that story.
I will tell you the story.
Rachel Zegler's publicist having to constantly put out fires.
Yes. Pop Culture Junkie said, Phil, is there a trick to writing a song ending?
No. I mean, just end it.
The Last of My Kind says,
in key. Stay in key. Whatever key that whatever key the riff is in, right? The ending in key. But it can be just as simple as just like, going down the scale, like, 3 da 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 da, like very simple stuff.
The Last of My Kind said cigars are firefighting and military tradition.
Okay.
I just known some guys who like they have like pocket watches and stuff, and it just seems a little bit cosplay-y.
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said Dwight Yoakam,
Yep.
did I say that right? Just released his first album in 9 years. His
wow.
first single features Post Malone. Also, Phil, opinions on The System Has Failed. Why are you groaning?
I'm pretty sure that's a Megadeth record, and I'm not super familiar with it. It's newer stuff.
I love Post Malone, but like not everything needs to be crushing modernity.
Also, the question is, does Dwight Yoakam still wear those super skin tight pants? He's well known for skin tight pants.
I love Post Malone, but does Post Malone need to work with Dwight Yoakam on his first record in 9 years?
Thank you, guys. Post Malone has a feature on like literally everything. We have a 20 from the Manic Mustache, late as usual, but apropos to Men's Health Awareness Month. Get a hobby that gives you a group of men that you can bond with and make you a better man. Then when you find the one, you will be equipped to keep her. Stay toxic. Well, that sounds like incredibly non-toxic advice.
The opposite of toxic.
Yeah, that's great advice. Stefan Buttles just said Diddy. No Diddy. Red Snow said, as a huge Death fan, I gotta ask, what was it like seeing Chuck live? Did you guys interact?
I introduced myself and said hi. He was very cool, very chill. He was very much a dude in a death metal band, so he wasn't like better. He didn't act like he was better than anyone. And I mean, he was amazing. He was great. So
V-Wit said last. He was not last. Red Snow said, nuh-uh, V-Wit. Willem said, sorry, wasn't talking about All That Remains at all. New music is beautiful.
Yes.
Okay, I think we're all...
Nope, V-Wit says, F you,
right?
Red Snow, and Willem last. And then Edmondo says...
Edmundo Jr. Petruzziello. Hi, Phil. Cool shirt and nice dance moves.
Cheers.
Red Snow said, we doing this, bro? I think you're doing this.
We are doing this. Guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already. I do want to give another shout out, or not a shout out, another
warning.
Update. Yeah, warning. Next week on Tuesday will be the last show of the week because of the holiday, so we will be having a 3-hour extended stream that day with a host of different guests, so stay tuned for that. Phil, let everybody know where they can find you.
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. You can subscribe to me there now. It's all taken care of, so go subscribe. It's like $2. Give me a subscription. I am Phil That Remains official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can check out our new videos for Forever Cold, Let You Go, No Tomorrow, and Divine. All of them are available on YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. And don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
We have several more. V-Wit said last. Shane H. Wilder said Dwight Yoakam was my dad's favorite, so I grew up with him. He still wears the skin-tight pants. The album is really good. I recommend.
Okay.
Red Snow said double last. High Voltage 75 said, Phil, you here next Tuesday.
You gonna have time to stop by for
On
an hour next
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
We start at 2 and go to 5.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I will look
We'll
into
see.
it.
Maybe means no usually.
We'll leave that on a cliffhanger then. Ryan Bledsoe said, good Friday morning from Japan. Good morning.
Cheers.
And good morning to you, sir.
Willem said,
Skull.
Skull?
Yeah, I don't know what's the Vikings record this year. What are they, 8-2, 9-2? I don't know.
Not That John Stewart said, hostage party, let's go. Last, I subbed to Phil on X.
Let's go.
I appreciate
Okay.
that. Cheers.
Nate said, I don't know if I can stomach the shade towards Posty.
I gave no shade.
There was
I
no
love
shade.
Post Malone, but again, not
great.
everybody needs to work with everybody all the time. If you're a country legend and you haven't made an album in 9 years, maybe you don't work with like a new artist right away. Maybe you release your own stuff with other classic artists. That's all I'm saying.
I still miss Post Malone's actual rap career,
Yeah.
to be honest. V-Wit said last. Red Snow said super extra last. High Voltage 75 said Dwight Yoakam was great in Sling Blade. That is all.
It ain't got no gas in it. Okay, Mary, I have to
I
ask
think
again.
that's all.
Did you do
I
your outro?
did not. For
Okay.
once, I did not yet do my outro. You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right, guys, if you want to follow me, Instagram and Twix, at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Remember, next week, Monday and Tuesday, long show on Tuesday. If you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. If you want to listen to the audio version, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify, if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. Spotify and Apple Podcasts let you rate and review, so go ahead and do that. I do have a review up tonight at 8 p.m. for the brand new Taylor Sheridan show, Landman. I would be curious to know what you guys think, because I have my own thoughts on it, and I want to know if you guys are watching it, because we're always kind of starved for stuff that we actually like these days. So if you have time, go and check out that review, especially if you watch the show. Let me know how my thoughts jive with your thoughts.
more.
A couple more there?
V-Wit said super extreme Super Saiyan last. Shane H. Wilder said Posty is only on one song on the album, Brett.
Well, yeah, I didn't expect it to be like a duet album. That's not what I'm saying.
Duet album.
All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then. Oh, there's one more there.
Nate said Posty is the best.
We do love Posty here.
We have another one from Red Snow. Ultra Instinct last.
That's the last one, because
Okay,
we will be back
we're
with
done.
another episode tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye, guys.